What do I want to talk to you guys about? I want to talk to you about a few things today. So, let's talk about the subject in hand, flow, right? Do you go with the flow? Manifesting, and this is connected to manifesting, okay? Because it's in manifesting you learn how to go with the flow, right? So, when you have a desire that you want to manifest, and it doesn't really matter what the desire is, for argument's sake, I'm going to talk about a holiday. You want to manifest some holiday, or let's say a person. You want to manifest a relationship. That's another good one. Okay, that a lot of people want to manifest. It is really easy to kind of, if you take the idea of a person, you'll be like, oh, I really want to meet someone new. And it's really easy to just go, I'll just sign up to some apps. And you talk to your mates and you find out which are the great apps. Hi, Belinda. No, it's on a Wednesday if I can't do a Tuesday. That's sort of how I kept it, but I would prefer a Tuesday actually in my own diary. It's a good day for me to do this. But hello, how are you? I hope you're well. So I've just begun talking. So let's say you want a relationship and you want to manifest someone. And a lot of people will now use apps. So they'll talk to their friends and they'll say, who is a good app? What is a good app for me to join? And what kind of people are you seeing on there? And you join an app and then you might have swiped right or left, depending on the app, and gone, had a few conversations, and nothing's developed out of it. And you're like, you get frustrated with it. Okay. That is not going with the flow. That's running with an idea that's leading you to frustration. And so then the next stage is you still want to manifest this relationship, but you're thinking now, well, what did I do wrong? And what can I do better? Maybe it's a different app, or maybe I need to go to that bar, or maybe someone's had success doing a dance class or something. And you start trying to think your way through the problem. Okay. But manifesting is not about thinking, manifesting is about feeling, right? And it's believing that what you desire can come to you and that you can embody that thing, right? Because when you manifest something, you up level in some shape or form. So whether you manifest a new job, a new relationship, a new car, doesn't really matter what you're manifesting. In the having of that thing, you begin to embody that thing as well. So if you get a new job, you embody that role. If you get a new relationship, you embody being in that relationship. And that relationship will be different to any other relationship you had. If you desire a new car, you'll embody being that new car driver. It may not be a brand new car, but you'll embody being a new driver in that car, all the feelings that come along with it. So, pleasure, comfort, ooh, isn't this feel good? You know, do you see what I mean? Those kinds of feelings. So, if you're trying to manifest a relationship and you're thinking, why is this not working and how can I get this to work? Then you are in the thinking territory and you're not in flow. Your brain is trying to help you come up with solutions. Now, there is nothing wrong with your brain trying to help you as long as your feelings and your thoughts are aligned to each other, right? They have to be aligned. And so, how can you know that you're in flow? So, let's take this example of a relationship. When you are wanting a new relationship, it is because the place that you are in is not feeling good to you. And this is true of anything that you want that requires change, okay? New house, new car, new person, new job, more money. It is because the place you are in is not feeling good to you. It could be feeling lonely, it could be feeling hard, it could be feeling sad, it could be feeling there might be some shame or judgment in it. You will have these feelings that are triggering a desire for something new, right? And a change that you want to experience. Because what you want to experience is to feel better, to feel happier, to feel more joyful, to enjoy your life more. So when you are starting off with your desire, get really clear about what you're feeling and what you want to change. So let's say your desire is a new relationship. Hi, Mickey, how are you? Let's say your desire is a new relationship and you've realized that in your current state, you feel a bit alone, you'd like some companionship, you would like to have someone special to laugh with and go out with and do those nice things with, and you don't want to feel alone anymore. So you set that intention and then you connect to your higher self. Now, I'm always going to tell you to connect to your higher self, right? That's what this group is about. You're going to connect to your higher self and you're going to say to your higher self, okay, you know what I want. You know I want, I'm okay, thank you, Mickey. It took me a while to get over the jet lag, but I'm back on form now. You know what I want. You know I want a new relationship. And I don't want any old relationship. I want a good relationship. I want a relationship that brings me joy. I want a relationship where I can enjoy good conversation and have interesting experiences that help me feel more high vibe. I want a relationship where he doesn't need me to fix him or she doesn't need me to fix her. What I need is a meeting of minds where by being together, we're actually better, right? We make each other better. We're equally dominant. We're co-dominant in this relationship. One is not more dominant than the other. We're a great partnership. And you're saying this all to your higher self. And then you're saying to your higher self, okay, so we know what the desire is. You know what I'm asking for. You know what outcome I'm seeking. What is the first step? Now, your brain will then get involved and go, speak to this person. They've recently done some dating. Speak to that person. She's a matchmaker. You know, depending on your culture. In Indian culture, there are still matchmakers. Do this, do that, do this, do that. And your brain will be saying all of that. But your higher self and your soul energy may be saying something completely different. And this is where it's really important that you learn to listen, okay, and feel the flow, right? Because in your desire to meet someone with all these attributes that you're going to feel good and, you know, it's going to uplift you, this relationship, etc., it might be that your energy says, well, yes, you can have all those things, but in order to have all those things, you need to up level yourself a little bit. Okay. And to up level yourself a little bit, you are going to have to get rid of some of your limiting beliefs. And some of you will be rolling your eyes as I say this and going, oh, for God's sake, limiting beliefs. But the fact is, we all have them. And they sometimes creep in when we least expect them. Even when we think we've got rid of them, sometimes doubt comes in. Sometimes fear comes in. Why? Because we're physical humans and it's hard sometimes to trust that what we're asking for will manifest for us. That's being a human. It's okay, right? So you need to up level yourself so that you can be the best version of you when you meet this person. And then your energy might go, okay, I want you to sit back and I want you to, and this could come from your higher self, it could come from your soul energy. I want you to sit back and I want you to look at the best bits and the worst bits of your previous relationships and like have a look at those. And is there a new perspective you can reach on this? Is there a new belief you can reach on this? And if there is, what is the new truth that you need to do? Okay, so this bit, most of you who have been attending my lives and been in the group for a while, you will be familiar with. Okay. So where does the flow come into this? Well, the flow comes in not following the urge to rush forward. The flow comes in by going, okay, I've got to do this little bit of inner work. And once I've done it, then what? Now, it is often the case that your team, your higher self in your team, will not reveal every step of the pathway to you until it's time to do that, because there is a problem that you might get overwhelmed, but there is also, it might scare you a little bit. Okay. So your team will wait until you have done the inner work, and then you can sit back and go, okay, done my inner work, I've got the new perspectives. Now, what's my first step? And they might nudge you to maybe speak to someone. And it could be a friend, it could be a dating coach, it could be your sister. It doesn't matter who the person is. And there will be value in that connection. So you will be contacting them and then going, right, I'm thinking about dating again. I've done some inner work. Um, any thoughts you can share with me? Any inspiration? Any advice? And then they might say, oh, I know someone who can help you. And that's your flow that you're then following. So before you reach out to that next person, you might then go to your higher self and to your energy. Right, how do we feel about this? Are we ready to do this? And some of you will kind of go, actually, I'm not quite ready. Now your brain will be saying, don't be silly, get on with it. But your energy will be saying, take a step back, rest, allow yourself to be ready to make the phone call, then make the phone call, right? And so this is how flow works. It's slower, but in a way it's more direct than if you follow your brain's patterns of thinking. Because every step you're taking is aligned with your soul energy and your own energy. So every step you're taking is steering you in the best way possible to meet that special person. Okay. And in your head, you might have a desire that you want to meet this person by the time you go on your summer holiday, because we're in June now, and you might say, I'm going on holiday at the end of July, I want to meet someone, right? And your energy might be like, actually, no, we don't want to meet them before we go on holiday. Maybe we want to meet them on holiday, or maybe we want to meet them as soon as we come back off holiday. Because when we come back off holiday, we're at our best in lots of ways because we've had this brilliant time. We're in a really high vibe place. So the other thing about going with flow is, can you trust the flow? And this takes practice. So let me talk about my book to you, because this was a real lesson in flow for me, okay? So I have had this business now for, let me have a think. I started this business in November 2021. We are now in June 2024. And I received fairly early on that I was going to write a book, and I didn't know what the book was. And for a little while, I was developing my Etsy shop, and I was developing a website and all those other things. And the book really wasn't kind of coming through. And then at the beginning of this year, I began to really feel a flow to write this book. I was getting loads of ideas coming into my head, and I was getting lots of impulses to start writing. And so I began to write. And honestly, in the space of 6 weeks or 8 weeks, I'd written nearly 30,000 words. And I then sort of got a little bit stuck because I was like, well, how am I going to publish this book? And actually, what's going to happen after I publish this book? Because the way I'm running my business now is really about being in flow. So I might have an idea, but if it does not align to my flow, I don't put it out there. That's why I don't put loads of offers out into the group, because it would be easy for me as a knee-jerk reaction when I need some extra income or I need to do something to really kind of go, oh, I've got an offer for you guys. But if it doesn't feel good to my energy and it doesn't feel in flow, none of you are going to take it up, and it will be wasted energy for me, and it will lead me to feeling more frustrated and a bit grr about everything, right? So I just don't do that because I'm going with my flow. And in that flow, the feeling I have always when I'm really connected to it, and I'm doing that now, is I feel this enormous love for me in it. And it's love from God and my team, but it's also love from me for me as well, because I'm honoring what my energy wants to do. So I wrote these 20 odd thousand, 30,000 words in about 8 weeks. And then I did nothing for almost a month. I just didn't want to write. And I kept thinking, you need to go and write, you need to go and write, you need to go and write. And I was doing other things, but I wasn't writing. I wrote a couple of blog posts. I started working on a program that I thought I might put out. I launched the VIP membership. I did all sorts of other things, but I wasn't writing. And then I got to April, and then I began to feel the nudge again. I'm going to write now. And around mid-April, I began to sort of really begin to look at how was I going to get this book published. And so I followed my brain, because I'm human and this is a learning process. And I began to look for publishers. And then I began looking at their pricing, and I began going, good God, that's a lot of money. They want anywhere from sort of 2,000 up to £8,000 they wanted. And I really didn't know what to do about it, but I continued writing, and I just said to my team, right, you wanted me to write this book. I have gone with this. I have flowed with it. I've not written when the impulse has not struck me, and I have written when it has. So how am I going to publish this book? And being human, it worried me a little bit. But having done this research and realized that a lot of these publishing houses, I couldn't really afford to go with them. And also the kind of deal they were offering wouldn't suit me. I was like, I'm handing this over to the flow. I'm going to hand it over to my team and God and let them deal with it. And honestly, within a week, I began to hear the name of someone. And she's a member of the group. Her name's Sarah. And Sarah when I met Sarah many years ago, she was not a book coach. But in the meantime, in the last few years since I spoke to her, she's actually trained to become a book coach. And I arranged a conversation with her. And through Sarah, I've met Christine and Matt, who are my editing and typesetting team, and so much more. This was more flow happening, right? Because that once I followed that nudge to speak to Sarah, that flow to Christine, that flow to Matt happened really easily and organically, right? The pricing was okay. It was just very, very seamless. And then in the last sort of month, I've been asking my team, what happens once the book is published? We actually agreed a date, my team and I, and the date surprised me a little bit, but they agreed to it, and it feels really good to me to have it on this specific date. And I then said to my team, well, what happens afterwards? What am I delivering afterwards? And I've been asking this also for about a month, had no reply. And then just after I came back from India last week, someone reached out to me and said, my higher self has nudged me to reach out to you. It's time we work together. And I was like, oh, okay, perfect. And I had a call with that person yesterday, and we've set something up in September. And the whole point of this, right, that I'm telling you this, and some of you will have heard the story of my book a little bit, is because it was all done in flow. Every time I tried to think my way into a solution, I ran into roadblocks. Every time I stepped back and went, okay, what do I need to do now? I easily allowed myself to receive my next step. Now, this takes practice, right? This is not something I have achieved really easily. I've been working with Athalia consciously since 2019. Before that, for 20 years, she'd helped me in Reiki sessions, and I didn't even know it was her helping me. So I cannot say that this is something I got really easily. And for many years, I would get incredibly frustrated, incredibly cross about how things just wouldn't manifest for me. But now that I work on being in flow, there are several things that happen. One is I'm really open to those nudges and impulses, and I allow myself to take action on them. The second thing is that feeling of frustration and I'm not doing enough and I'm not good enough has disappeared. Instead, it's been replaced with this feels really good and I like the direction I'm going in, and I'm just going to be patient and allow myself to flow with this. It means that mental chatter has reduced. It hasn't gone completely, and I think that's because I'm a human, and I think it's really normal for our brains to get involved. It's an old habit I'm still working on breaking on. But in all of this, there's also a lot of compassion for myself, right? I'm allowing myself to be human. I'm not expecting myself to be superhuman. I'm going, okay, this is hard. I'm going to sometimes worry. Oh, wait, I'm worrying. Let me pull my energy, the thoughts back, and come back to my higher self and my own soul energy. And I bring myself back. And every time I bring myself back, is because until we have taken the step to leave a situation or a place or whatever it is we need to leave, the next step won't be revealed to us, right? So I went to India for 2 weeks, and in that time, I kind of knew energetically a lot of stuff would be changing. I didn't know when I came back, someone would reach out to me for a collaboration. I just knew the energy would feel a bit looser because this thing I went to finish off in India was a big thing for my family, and emotionally and energetically was quite a burden. And so by allowing myself to flow through that experience and then flow into coming back into life in London, I've allowed myself to just be compassionate and kind to myself. I've allowed myself not to be critical of myself. And I've allowed myself to just let the energy reveal at the right time what I needed to know. So, if you have a conundrum that you are struggling with, that you want some help with, let's feel the flow. Now, the other thing I'm going to just say to you about flow as a reminder is that you can always connect to your higher self and look at the actual flow of energy as well. So, I often see energy as a golden stream. So, if, say, you want to manifest a new partner or a new job, you close your eyes, you connect to your higher self, and then from your heart's vortex, your love vortex, you see a stream of energy going out, right? That energy is your true energy going to your desired manifestation. How does that energy feel to you? Does it feel good? Does it feel sluggish? Does it feel too fast, too slow? Does it feel like it's made of mud? What does it feel like to you? And then you can go from there. You can go, okay, this doesn't necessarily feel so great to me. So is there a spiritual intention protocol or a SIP I can use to help this energy? So if the energy flow is really sluggish, can I use energize? Is that what I need to use? Your higher self will give you the instruction you need. So that's a very practical thing you can do if you notice that the energy is really sluggish. I've not had to do that with my book because my book actually has flowed fairly consistently. Okay, so my friends, that is it. John's card was the truth is I am abundant. We're all done for today. I will hopefully be back next week. I'm getting my days mixed up now. I'll be back next week with next week's title. If there's anything you want me to talk about on a Tuesday night, message me or drop me a line in the group and I will do my best. I will talk to your teams and see if that's what everyone wants to listen to, because that's how I collate these conversations that I have with you. Just to say, for those of you who are new and haven't been to one of these lives before, you can go to my website and download the Higher Self Connection process for free. I am once again doing healing sessions, individual healing sessions. I just did a session with someone this week who came with a painful ankle, and it was all about, sort of fear and judgment and shame. There was a lot of emotions in it. We shifted it all with her higher self. And even in an hour and a half of her session, it was so much more different. She felt different in her ankle and has continued to improve. So I'm doing some healing sessions. I'm also doing higher self readings. If you would like to know more about those, I will put the links at the bottom. please do book yourselves in and we can go from there. All right, I shall love you and leave you all.